Well, good morning, everybody. This is Trade Formula. Wanted to do a really quick analysis on XRP. Big surprise, that's the only one I ever talk about. So let's jump in. Well, we're looking at the 4-hour chart right now. If we do a really brief recap on what I believe is going to happen, let's scroll out. Historically, I've identified that there are, support and resistances, some smaller, some a little bit larger. Ladder 2, 1, 2 have been larger. And then following the breaking of that resistance, there is a large boom that happens over about a month-long period or so. And I believe that's what we're going to see happen in the rather near future. So what do we do about that? Well, let's zoom in to the 4-hour chart. You can see the all-time high was around $3.30, at least on Bitstamp's account here. And then we see this clear resistance emerge. We did break it pretty strongly, actually, back here. What was that, about mid to late September? And then, we had a bit of a dip. We caught ourselves right here, which, by the way, is at a fair amount of support right here. So that was a little bit predictable. I don't remember precisely what I'd called that went to. I think I said 41 cents, and that's at about 36 to 38 cents. And by the way, that aligns with previous highs that we've seen, if you look way back here as well. And that just completely makes sense there. In addition to that, I've drawn in this line of support. If I can get it focused in on here. Here we go. So we've seen a number of touches here. Originating here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and what I believe could be 5. Ultimately, this is a pretty notable pennant pattern right here. What I tend to believe will happen is that, well, first of all, before I get too ahead of myself, I had anticipated that it would fall down to levels down here at about 40 cents. I thought it would follow this line of, resistance and support and touch down here. And, it just didn't have the bearish pressure to do so. And it stopped off right here at about, what is that, 43.5 cents. It's about where the support was here as well, which is interesting to me. So what I had called is that, okay, let's change that entry from here to here. And lo and behold, it worked out really quite well. It did not go under our green support here. And if you listen to my advice, well done, you're in a trade. And I believe we are only going to see higher lows moving forward. Now, the big test is going to be here. So if it were me, and if I were going to, trade this, and I'm just holding, but if you wanted to do it, I might put my support in, I might put my stop. I might raise my stop to right here if you are not risk prone. And really, depending on how big of a stop you put in previously, if you did max it all the way out down here, okay, fair enough. If you tucked it up to about right here, which I think there's some support to align with that too, then great. That's about 5-to-1 risk reward ratio. It's a pretty good trade, even if you did get stopped out here. The big question is this: is there going to be fundamental happenings around November 3rd to yield breaking this resistance? That's the big question. If there is something that happens, I can actually see us, and I've left this one. Active because we've actually seen in the past that previous trends telegraph the projection or telegraph the direction that the parabolic move is going to take. This is possible. It's possible, right? I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm saying it's possible that you have this move here. I'm going to make it, tell you what, I'm going to make it a different color. Let's make it something I don't normally use. Let's make it bright orange, right? And let's make it a little bit thicker so we can see it. So it'll stand out from the rest of it. I think that's possible, and actually it lines up pretty all right with what I've projected to occur. And so we'll see if that actually does happen or not. But if we go back to, and I don't know if this is going to work with, okay, this is 4 hours, so we should be able to look back in time a bit. You'll see the same thing happen in these previous moves. I remember seeing some lines that I had drawn. Oh, I went way too far. Sorry, my computer's trying to catch up here. Awesome. So, you could see like this line, pointed to this. You can see that there are other instances in which this line ultimately, if I'm not mistaken, pointed to this. Anyway, that's a little bit, kind of out there in terms of, I don't know if that's like a thing. This line pointed to this, the same trajectory. But it does catch up with that. I've seen that happen in the past. I think we could see it happen again right here. We'll see about that. I don't know. The big question, I'm getting off the path too much. The big question is this: who wins? This bearish trend, this bullish trend or this bearish trend? That's the big question. Again, if you bought in here, well done. Keep it. Keep your stop wherever you have it for now. Check to see if it's making higher highs and higher lows over the next few days here. If we currently sit right here on October 25th, we have about a week to go to learn about what direction it's heading, and it's getting pretty exciting, I think. Now, hey, what happens if it drops? Well, there's a few things that could happen. This blue line, I don't know why I've kept that. There's not a whole lot of evidence for that, so I'm going to actually get rid of it. I mean, we're talking about minor, touches here. That's not convincing enough for me, so I'm going to get rid of it. I mean, if we fail to break this resistance, then I don't know. I think we could easily fall back to, 36 cents or so, possibly more. We might even line up with 29 cents down here. I personally think there's going to be a lot of buying pressure at this level, though. But we have two pretty strong touches there. That when it did touch this blue line, that it went up from that. Ultimately, we can't get the whole way there on the 4 hours. So let's change to a daily. Ultimately, the big question, if we do not break it right here, is that what's the next low? Right now, this is a higher low than the previous low. Obviously, here we're looking at low, a lower low, a lower low, a lower low, higher low. That's the big question: is when are we going to make higher lows and lower highs? The big thing for me, though, I'm kind of weighing my evidence in both directions. We broke that resistance already. That is very significant, very, very significant. And I think if it's broken here, there is enough there's enough evidence to galvanize bulls to say we're going to break it again. And when it does, it is going to go, just like it has in previous other instances like this. And I'm sticking with that it's going to be $8 at a minimum by the end of the year. Okay? That's my call. Wow, look at that. That lines up with that almost exactly. That's pretty cool. That was not intentional, but I think that is pretty cool. Well, we'll see what happens, guys. Thanks.